Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Lander is the channel. British Lander, I thought was the channel name, unless he's got two. But Lander, mentioned channel before. Quite a big channel now. Osmond Gold mentioned him, and I seen him in London as well when the Tommy Robinson thing was on. I didn't get to talk to him. He was making a video and he walked past me twice, so I didn't disturb him. But anyway, we're talking about money, the economy, the national debt, um, inflation, general bagwash, really. Mentioned it for a while, the ever increasing national debts, which we'll get to in a moment. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. And tax rises, the upcoming budget on the 26th of November, just over a month away. Rachel Reeves announcing in the background there that there's going to be tax rises. As we can see on the right here, how to avoid the worst of Reeves' budget, Labour's tax lies exposed. So yeah, basically, there's no money. The cupboard was bare, and you're gonna have to pay for it. To be honest, that's the bottom line here. The cupboard was bare. We're spending absolute millions and billions on all sorts of things that us, the British people, don't want to spend money on. But we are, and ultimately we have to pay for it because it's the national debt's on our head, and most people don't understand economics. But if you did, you'd realise we're in quite a lot of trouble here. Quite a lot of trouble. We could possibly be poor forever. So, by 2030, you will own nothing and be happy, was the cry.
About taxes today because guess what? They're going up. Apparently by quite a lot, more than any other country in the G7 or the European Union. Why? We'll come back to that. But first, let's just remind ourselves of what Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, said after the last time she raised our taxes.
We have now drawn a line under the inheritance that I face. Public finances are now on a firm footing, and
No, they're not. It's a load of bollocks. They just lie to people because people don't know economics. They don't understand it. They don't like. They're not taught it. These people just lie to you over and over and over and over again, and it washes because nobody has a fucking clue how economics works. To be honest, and they don't realise what's coming down the line here. Moving over here to the USDebtClock.org, but we have also everybody else's national debts on here as well, as you can see. Just Turkey, just been to Turkey. Yeah, Turkey. I had a look when I was there, to be honest, at all of this while I was there. Population of 86 million, and a national debt of only 400 million. So, and again against GDP, only 34 or 42%. Hold on, which one do we read here? We'll go to a UK because we're on 100 now. So we're reading the first one. 115% of GDP. The UK there, which America's still under 100%. So we're in a lot of trouble here, to be honest. Once you're over 100%, well, you're over 100%, so you're in a bit of trouble. France, 125, Italy, 162. Italy's in a lot of trouble. Oh, we've got Greece there. We all know Greece is fucked, so 200%. Let's have a look down here. We've got Portugal, 130%, not doing so well. Spain, 126%. So these major European countries here in a lot of trouble. Canada, 120% as well. Canada's in a bit of bother. We're seeing the prices over there. America, only on 96, but nearly at 100. So all these countries, as you can see, have either topped over 100% at this point or coming up to it, with America on 96. China's not too bad. You've got India coming up 93, Brazil on 95, Argentina 94. Australia's probably in the best fettle here on 62, although Indonesia's doing all right as well. But they're not the large exporters of things, some of these countries, so to tip the balance, it might not take a lot. Ireland only 50%, quite surprising really, considering how much everything costs in Dublin. So these are all the national debts anyway, of all the countries listed here. So primarily we're focusing on the United Kingdom here. So 115% apparently of GDP debt. We're going for 3.7 trillion here, but apparently the national debt is 4.2 trillion over here. So again, this has remained on the other national debt clock. We're only on about 3.2 trillion, so we're a trillion more on this debt clock. So nobody actually knows, in my opinion, other than the Bank of England, who don't inform us of what this number really is. Nobody really knows what this number is. It's somewhere between 3 and 4 trillion, we would think. We don't know. I don't know. All we can do is go off these clocks, which are all different. Every single one I've seen is different. I've got a 2.7 trillion, a 3.2 trillion, a 4.2 trillion. So there's multiple figures out there. Again, I would only take the official figure from the mouth of the Bank of England, who is actually owed the debt to, and that's the true figure, but they don't seem to want to tell you, so you have multiple figures knocking around. Who knows which one's true? Again, this is 4.2 and 115%. The other clock I sometimes look at's at 3.2 and about 99.9%. So again, I'm not. Who knows where we are here? Who knows? But we do know we're in the shit. This is Bagwash Central coming in fast, and it's not going to go well. We're all going to lose money and be poor. And I've been mentioning this for a while, to be honest, because this is what's happening, and it's not going away. It's just going to get worse. It's like we're building to some sort of catastrophe here. It really is, on many levels, like all the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the economy, wars. We're like building to just catastrophe. There's ultimate catastrophe coming eventually here. It could be months, it could be years, but catastrophe it will be. So, yeah, that's the fucking national debt. A shitstorm, absolute shitstorm in the mix, always happening. It's gonna become real apparent to everybody in the near future that we're in the shit here again. You won't miss the tribulation, as I mentioned before. You can't miss it. 7 years of tribulation, and you're gonna fucking know you're in a tribulation here. So, this is part of it. This is absolutely part of it, by the way. It is mentioned in the Bible also that a loaf of bread will cost a day's wage. Well, this is what's going to happen when all the money goes to fuck. It's literally happening. It's literally yet again a book, thousands of years old, absolutely predicting the future with precise accuracy. You will see it will be very precise accuracy when it predicts this future. It isn't even here yet. It isn't even here yet. It is getting there, though. This number ever escalating here. Where a loaf of bread will cost a day's wage when these motherfuckers are finished. That will be absolutely Bible prophecy correct yet again there. And again, yet it still hasn't happened. But this is in the near future. That will be correct. So, it's all the taxes are going up. Rachel Reeves a cunt, but not as big a cunt as all the people she works for and the global elites, who are ultimately doing this plan for the New World Order and spending us into an oblivion. It's all part of one big plan. Rachel Reeves is just a cog in the wheel. Same as Starmer, same as Blair, same as Brown, same as fucking Sunak. All the people are just cogs in the wheel to ever fuck us over, is what's happening. So let's have a lot more of this.
Also, our public services are funded in a proper way, and we've now set the envelope for those public services for the rest of this Parliament, which means we're not going to have to come back for more.
We already had the highest levels of tax in this country for 80 years. That was prior to the last budget, where Rachel Reeves raised them by another £40 billion. But after that, she did the media rounds and she was explaining that, look, I was left a £22 billion black hole by the Conservatives. I've had to fill that by increased taxation.
She made it into 60. That was the beauty of that. She made it from a £20 billion black hole into a £60 billion black hole after taxing us all the fuck. So, I mean, if you haven't figured it out by now, like, that's I think what I'm trying to say. Like, there is no fixing this. This can only ever get worse now. Like, we've passed the point of no return. It would probably make that 100% of GDP. But we've passed the point of no return where, in effect, we cannot pay the interest on this debt, and we're having to we're having to borrow more money just to pay the interest on the debt, and we're stuck in a cycle of shit now, is what I'm going to call it. A cycle of shit. There's no getting out of this. We need to print more money to pay the interest because the debt's got too big, right? We can't. I don't think there's any feasible way we can pay this off at this point. The job's fucked. Is another way of putting this. The job is fucked. They just haven't bothered to tell everybody yet. Is another way of putting it. There's no way out of this. It's only going to get worse. Everybody's going to be poorer. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's never going to get better. It'll ultimately end in the complete collapse of the economy because the debt is just, look at it go. That's where we're going, and it's where everybody's going, to be honest, because, fuck me, look at Japan here, 294% of GDP. Because they're going to collapse all of these economies and bring in a one world economy for their new world order, one world government. It's going to be a one world centralized economy and government. So, what you're watching, and I've been watching for probably most of your lives here, is the destruction of all of these economies. And now we're near the end of the game here. We're near the complete destruction of these economies. So it's getting steadily worse. Economically is what you're watching. And people say, oh, we go around in cycles. We go around in cycles. We had the credit crunch 2007 and all this bollocks. Yeah, we do. We do have crashes and lifts and crashes, but ultimately this number keeps ever escalating throughout all of these crashes. So it's systematically getting worse through all of these. We're not going around in circles. It's getting worse. So, yeah, I don't mean to be a doom monger here. This is economics. This is maths, to be honest. This is absolutely maths, and it doesn't. There's no conspiracy in maths. It's fucking maths. You know what I mean? Here it is. Here's the numbers. So. Yeah, your taxes are going up, and they're fucking. It's not going to stop, to be honest.
However, I won't be coming back asking for more. I've drawn a line under the public finances. We're finally on a firm footing. Okay, well, fast forward 11 months, just a couple of days ago, here's Rachel Reeves.
As we get the forecast and as we develop our plans, of course, we're looking at further measures on tax and spending to make sure that the public finances always add up.
She's talking about raising taxes in the November budget again. And if the newspapers are to be believed, she's going to go big.
She's about to raise taxes more than any other G7 country. Look at this. Higher tax rises than Germany, the US, France, Italy, Japan and Canada. There are now warnings that she's going to raise income tax.
Why is this happening? Well, there's a few reasons, one of them being increased interest rates. But a big one...
I don't know if Lander knows how the economy works. We're going to find out in a moment. So, the big reason is this fucking number here. I mean, I don't know how many times I've fucking mentioned it, you know what I mean? This number's massive. Not only is the number massive, I mean, it's massive in terms of everything. This number is everything. Everything you buy and spend and everything, this number is everything. It's not just a massive number, it's a massively important number. So, yeah, it's all based on this. This is all going to shit here. I've mentioned it before. As it all goes to shit, it gets worse. So, let's see if Lander knows.
One is the welfare budget. It is soaring, £300 billion.
Yeah, well, he's partly right. It is partly because of the welfare budget and then the migrants, the welfare and the migrants. But ultimately, again, by 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. And there'll be no benefit state. Again, I keep mentioning this. It's the population is going to be reduced, and there'll be no benefits in the end up because this economy is collapsing as well. That's the other part of it. As World War III comes in, and we need to spend a lot of money on war, as you can imagine. That will increase the number exponentially to an absolute ridiculous point where it's all gone to shit. And then after the war, when the debt will be too great, everyone will be poor. So they'll cancel all the economies, they'll cancel the war, they'll bring in a new world order, everything will be fixed, but it won't. And that's the way it's going to go. So... yeah, that it's honestly, we're gonna be. This is just gonna get bigger and bigger. And when a war starts, you spend a lot of money on war. That's what's happened before. If you look back in history, so that's what's going to happen. Like they literally are spending us into an oblivion, because this economy will be cancelled at the end. Certain people know this. Do you know what I mean? The people who are doing this know that this is the plan. That these economies will be cancelled at the end of the game here, and a one world economy will be brought in. So it's how we get there. That's the problem. Like how we get to this one world economy and one world government. It's a fucking shit show. Like again, there's a World War III in there I mentioned. No one's gonna like it. No one's gonna like the New World Order. No one's gonna like how we get to the New World Order. Nobody's liking it now, and we're nowhere near. You know what I mean? We're only opening the door here. That there's a small corridor down. We need to walk down here. We're just starting to walk down the corridor, and then there's another big room. So yeah, this is the shit show. Again, I keep mentioning this quite a lot because this is real bad. It's real bad news.
And that just increases every year. Every year, more and more people start to claim out-of-work benefits. Is that all legitimate? Who knows? And it reminds me of something that Carl Benjamin said the other day. He described Britain as a welfare state with a country attached to it. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of true, because all of this talk about how politicians treat Britain like an economic zone, not really, right? Because they don't do a very good job of treating it like an economic zone. Our economic state of affairs is terrible, but they do treat it like a welfare state. And then I got to thinking about it a little bit more. It's not just a welfare state, is it? It's an international welfare state. People come here specifically to use the NHS so that they don't have to pay for healthcare in their own countries. They know that if they just rock up at the hospital and they're 8.5 months pregnant, the NHS is ultimately going to look after them.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking in the wrong place here, Lander. This is the problem with a lot of people. He's blaming the welfare state and people on benefits and migrants and everything. And ultimately, it's like I'm trying to say here, like it's a problem. It is a problem that is absolutely putting us in financial ruin. But there is a bigger agenda at play here. That the reason this is being done, there's no logic in spending a country into an oblivion, or any country into an oblivion, yet every country is being spent into an oblivion, because there's a bigger plan at play here. The plan is the destruction of all of these economies in the end of the game, to bring in a one world economy. But how we get there is kind of irrelevant, to be honest, in many ways, because if you're not going to stop the people at the top who are doing this plan, they'll find another way to do it. They own all of this shit. Again, this is their board. They own the economies. They set up the economies. The economy wasn't put here by God. It's a man-made system, and the people who built this system, or the families that built this system that own all these nationalised banks, these people in the background, the Rothschild, the Rockefellers, the Goldman Sachs, the Astors, all these people who never get mentioned, their big plan is the New World Order, and it's the destruction of every single one of these economies. So he is right in many ways. Like, the welfare state is crippling us, but what he's not grasping is the plan is to cripple us. Like, that's the plan. The ultimate plan is to cripple the economies, to bring in a new economy. I mean, again, we're going to have a war as well, and the amount of money that you spend on war is unreal. But it gets the country producing and feeling like it's a bit more prosperous because you're spending all this money. And money is circulating through the system, but while it will be doing that, this number will ever be increasing. Again, these numbers, which then after the war, you will be in a lot of trouble financially, because you don't need to print money and build everything as much because the war's over, which will ultimately completely destroy the economy when the number's up to about 20 trillion or something in that region. So again, at that point, the options or the offer will be, oh, well, let's just start again, and everybody will agree, because it's all gone to shit because we've spent too much money and everybody's in the same boat. So fuck it, let's all just, we'll have a one world government because we won't have another war, because the war was awful. So we won't have another war if we have a one world government, and we might as well have a one world currency because we've got a one world government, and all the economies are knackered, so we might as well do that as well. So there we go, we fixed everything now, and that's literally the plan, although it was all planned in the first place to get there. So yeah, he's right, Lander. It's like all the benefits and all the migrants and the hotels and all the bikes we buy them and iPhones and all of this. It is crippling us. It absolutely is crippling us. But ultimately, that's the plan. Do you know what I mean? Like that is ultimately the plan to cripple us. So it's going to get real worse, and again, your taxes are going up a lot, and this is just this is what again I've been trying to mention for a while here. This is a constant thing now. Inflation is a constant here. There's no real way of fixing this. This can only get worse. So every budget, it's going to be a shit show, to be honest. Like every budget from here on in will be a shit show, where the government will take what everybody who's got any money, the government is going to take it off you, because it can only take money off people who've got money. All these people, the migrants and all the people on benefits, they don't have any money, so you can't take money off people that don't have money. So, yeah, that's what the British government will absolutely rob the British people now over the next couple of years, because that's the only thing they can do now. That's, again, what I'm trying to say is we're literally in catch-22 here. There is no other option but to rob the British people of all their money, because this government and previous governments, and it doesn't matter which government you elect at this point, this number cannot be fixed. It's again, look how much it's went up in the time of this video, and we don't even know the actual number. That's the beauty of it. We've multiple different figures ranging from 2.7 trillion to 4.2 trillion, but either or of them, that's the problem. We're still fucked here. Like, that's what Rachel Reeves, in a roundabout way, is telling you without telling you, is kind of the game here. Like, they don't tell you the truth, but you're being told the truth in a roundabout way, but nobody really understands how all this works. So yeah, you're literally being poverty and war. That's the future. Poverty and war.
That's a terrible state of affairs. People are coming here from everywhere in the world by any means, even jumping on a rubber dinghy, getting to Britain, knowing that they will be looked after.
But remember, when your taxes go up again, today it's emerged that nearly £10 billion is being spent every year just on benefits for foreigners.
Yeah, 10 billion, but again, 10 billion. It sounds a lot, but let's go back here. And it's only to there, you know what I mean? These other two numbers aren't concerned here. So 10 billion, it is a lot of money, but when we're talking 4.2 trillion or 3.2 trillion, like 11 billion isn't a lot of money, to be honest. When we're talking the numbers that we've got to here, but yeah, that is all bad money that we're spending, that's ever escalating this debt ever more. He is right, I've mentioned all this before, like that's one of my big concerns with the migrants, never mind them attacking and raping everybody. They're literally costing us a fortune. But the government in general, the Bank of England, or the elites, or the Fabian Society, the Freemasons, all these people, they know what's happening, they know what's going on, and they know what the plan is. That's the problem, and they're spending us into an oblivion on purpose. And it's like with everybody's like kind of fighting the wrong battle. It's like the ultimate battle is take out the global elites and you'll fix everything. And people are fighting little battles instead of the war, I suppose. It's the global elites that's the real problem here. And ultimately, if you get rid of them, you'll fix everything, or a lot of things anyway. but people are fighting the digital ID, people are fighting the migrants in the hotels, and these small battles ultimately will never win the war. The global elites will still be in charge, they'll still be bringing the new world order. They'll spend money in other ways to cripple you, like COVID, bring in a load of bullshit. So yeah, like it's the war is the global elites. To be honest, that's where the problems lie. That's how you fix all the problems, or majority of them, in one single go. But would you ever get to these people, and can you get to them? And the answer is probably no, to be honest. So you're in catch 22 every day of the week here, and most people don't understand why they're in catch 22. But yeah, so even all these little battles, even if you win the battles, you've never won the war here. You've never won the war, and ultimately, there's a war coming. That's will be absolutely catastrophic for the majority of Earth. Um, Again, the population reduction goal for the global elites is 80%. They want rid of 80% of the world's population. They want it less than a billion. We're now currently on 8 billion, so that's a lot of people to go. So this is the plans. Again, that the New World Order, in order for it to be controllable, you can't have so many people. Again, the people are the power, and it's now's the time for the people to figure that out. And if they don't figure it out pretty soon, then everything's lost. Is pretty much the way of things, to be honest. Not to be a doom monger. I'm just, again, this is the future. If you've got the eyes to see, in many ways, because this is also the plan. If you go and look up the plan of the New World Order, this is the plan. And we're all nothing but numbers. Our lives mean nothing to these global elites. Like, that's the other problem. You're dealing with some very sick people here, to be honest, who couldn't give a single shit about you whatsoever. And this plan's been long in the making, even before we were born. So if you think you're getting in the way of these motherfuckers' plans, well, they don't think so. And again, if you take a look around here, and have the eyes to see, you would see that we are really making no impact on stopping the New World Order. Again, we didn't even stop the boats, so it's, again, fighting small battles when ultimately the war against the global elites, the global agenda, will just forever roll on.
Nearly 17% of all universal credit payments are given to non-UK citizens. Migrants who have arrived since January 2021 could end up costing taxpayers, are you ready for this? £234 billion.
I bet 99% of
£234 billion. There you go. Again, I mean, all this, he is right, all this money adds up and adds up and adds up and adds up. And then ultimately the British people are going to be robbed for the money and then made poor. By 2030 you'll own nothing. But this all links into the New World Order, if everyone's can try to see what I'm saying here. Like, you will own nothing and be happy is the New World Order. And how you're going to get there to be owning nothing is through the absolute destruction of the current economy and the future budgets, as it forever gets worse. Then throw in a war, which will ultimately get rid of a lot of people as well, but ever escalate the debts and make us poorer yet again. To then, when the war finishes, the global solution, because the war was so bad, was the New World Order. Hey, that's the plan, right? And that's literally what you're watching, and you watch it play out. To ultimate bagwash. But yeah, I mean, Lander's right. Or spending all this money on foreigners is, they're not helping us in any way, shape or form. I've mentioned this before. But it's still, there's a bigger plan at play here, and the destruction of the economy is part of that plan. So, and COVID was used massively to further the destruction of the economy and send us into an oblivion. And yeah, it's a shit show. Again, it's a shit show. My God, it's a shit show. The song, I've mentioned, I've posted the thing, it's a shit show, because it truly is. It truly is. if you've got the eyes to see what you're watching here, again, it's just you're watching us just go down the plug hole. If you've got the eyes to see, that's all that's happening here. We're just slowly going down the plug hole by design. And the future's a military boot stamping on the face forever, as George Orwell put it. So I'll leave it there. If you want to watch the Lecture Lander's video, I'll go and watch it on Lander. He parades the fields with his dog with vital information, which is vital information. But I think my crack is it's just you can stop all these foreigners and boats. Ultimately all you want, but there's a bigger plan at play here. There's a global agenda at play, and the migrants, as annoying as it all is, ultimately is just a cog in a wheel yet again of part of a bigger plan, and maybe a part of just keeping you distracted from the real problems yet again, the real problems and the real people who are causing the problems, and it's the people at the top, not the people at the bottom. Is what's going on here. Again, we're all being distracted by the people at the bottom when it's all the people at the top causing the problems. So, and the people can't figure that out because you never mention these people's names in public is kind of the crack. It's like these people aren't mentioned by their media. So people don't really know who they're fighting is what's going on here. So you'll never really get any better till everyone figures that out is part of it. You can stop all the boats and stop all the migrants and kick all the foreigners out, but the global elites will still have the plan of the New World Order, and will still crack on. They'll just find other ways to do it, absolutely find other ways to perform whatever needs to be done. It will be done, so that's what you're dealing with here. You're not dealing with a load of people coming on boats, and that's the problem. That's a small problem in a very, very big scope of problems we've got here, and the biggest one is the global elites. That's your problem here. I'll leave it there anyway, peace.